Hello dear aspirants, I am Akriti Kanchi, your mentor from Prepp IAS, and I am helping you read newspaper effectively and fast with respect to UPSC syllabus. And we have a lot of prelims and mains related information in the newspaper, and I cover news from front page till the last page of science page of the Hindu. Okay, that is the speciality of our must read current affair analysis. So let's start with the front page. Strife hit Manipur put under President's rule. So this comes under GS paper 2, functions and responsibilities of union and state and issues related to federalism. So you should know what is President's rule and the article of President's rule. It is like, not knowing it as a UPSC aspirant will be a sin. Okay. So President rule was imposed in the northeastern state of Manipur, which has been affected by ethnic violence since 2023. Okay, so President Draupadi Murmu issued a proclamation under Article 356. So President rule is proclaimed under Article 356 of the Constitution after receiving a report from the governor. And on what conditions can you proclaim Article 356 on any state? That the governor's order said, the president said that the order satisfied that a situation had arisen in the government of that state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of constitutions of India. So this is the only condition with respect to which you can proclaim Article 356, that the government in that state is not able to be carried on in accordance with the provisions of constitutions of India. So the assembly is under suspended animation. Article 356 clause 3 of the Constitution states that the proclamation shall be laid before each House of Parliament and shall cease to operate at the expiration of 2 months unless approved by resolution of both Houses of Parliament. So President has proclaimed, now it needs the resolutions to be approved by the Parliament. Okay, otherwise it will cease in 2 months. Okay, and if the approved by Parliament, it can continue up to 6 months. Okay, let's move to the next article. And we'll come directly to the, So this bird flu is happening. AP has declared 4 areas as biosecurity zones. This comes under GS paper 2, issues related to health sector, and it can also be used in GS 4 case studies. Okay, like if such situations have happened, what will you do as the DM of the district or an administrator or the health administrator of the district? So the Andhra Pradesh has declared 4 areas as biosecurity zones because of the outbreak of bird flu. Okay. So how this biosecurity zones is divided into 3 zones. Okay, the first layer, so into 3 layers. Okay, one biosecurity zone is divided into 3 layers. The first layer is called the red zone. Okay, would be the radius of 1 kilometer from the village where bird flu was prevented, so that nobody comes there. The second layer is called the surveillance area. The first layer is red area. The second layer is surveillance area. And then beyond 10 kilometers, there was no restriction on sale and consumption of chicken and eggs. So these kind of, administrative rules you should know how you will use in the case studies. Okay, let's move to the next article. Yeah, now this I have taken because there is a Ganga Sagar Mela going on in the West Bengal, similar to but in a smaller scale than the Kumbh Mela. So it is showing clear indications of climate change which you can use. Pilgrims meet climate change on an island. GS1, there is a climate change topic in GS paper 1 of UPSC, right? So the impact of rising sea levels. So levels of sea has risen because of climate change. We all know, right? CO2 has increased. The greenhouse gas emissions and carbon dioxide has increased in the atmosphere, which is leading to warming of the atmosphere, and the sea levels are rising. So it has risen so much that it is very evident in West Bengal Sundarbans. Soil erosion is threatening the Kapil Muni temple as the sea creeps inland. The sea is coming inland. The temple which was there on the coast, now it is coming under it can be submerged in few years. Okay, so the observations say the sea is just 470 meters away from the temple now. Now it's just 470 meters away. About 10 years ago, it was around 1500 meters away, around 1.5 kilometers away. And now it is hardly 500 meters away, right? So there's a clear observation in the Ganga Sagar Mela and Kapil Muni temple. You can use this as an example in your essay or any GS paper 1 climate change topic. Let's move to the next article. Okay, so our Prime Minister Modi has visited France for AI Safety Summit, and bilateral relations is going on between India and France, right? So shared understanding, the Modi visit to France held broader strategic implications. GS paper 2, bilateral relations between India and France. So our PM Modi stated that India and France can be force of global transformation, right? They co-chaired the AI Action Summit before traveling to Marseille. In Marseille, they have inaugurated a new Indian consulate. They have also visited thermonuclear reactor project. I discussed what is thermonuclear project. It is under, they are researching on it, and it will work under nuclear fusion. Unlike the other nuclear projects, which is nuclear fission, this is nuclear fusion. A lot of countries are participating in it. China, India, right? Russia. So it is a very important project, right? They have discussed on defense, renewing deals on missiles, helicopters. Modi government announced amendments to India's nuclear liability laws, that we will change our nuclear liabilities laws to invite outside abroad players, French players and other US players to install nuclear energy plants in India, especially the small modular reactors. Okay, we have talked about what is small modular reactors. They have also talked about India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, which is called 𝐼MAC, right? And that depends on West Asian stability. They are seeking stronger engagement with the US and China, but they don't want to be dependent on US and China, right? So they have discussed global challenges and a lot of economic measures, and and their stance on conflicts, global conflicts have been discussed. So that's it for this article. Let's move to the next article. So this article, the problematic globalization of medical education. This I'll tell you in small. This is GS paper 2, issues related to health sector. It is about shortage of doctors in our country, which we very well know. So India is an interesting example of severe shortage of doctors. There's a lot of competition and very less colleges. 2.3 million students sit for the National Medical School entry examination, but only 1 in around 22 successful students get the admission in the colleges, because they're very expensive also, right? Only 700 plus medical colleges are there, right? So what that has compelled a lot of people to do take medical education in abroad, which is affordable for them and easier for them, like in countries like Russia, pre-war, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Philippines, China, Mauritius, Nepal. So our Indian students go to these countries to take easier and affordable medical education. Okay, so Indian students who the students who are taking medical education from outside have to come here and clear the national licensing examination to qualify for medical practice in India, right? So they are supposed to complete a medical internship upon their return. So to target this, our finance minister has announced a lot of things in this year's budget. The government had successfully added near 1.1 lakh undergraduate and postgraduate medical education, and in the past decade there has been increase of 130%, and they are also targeting to add 10,000 seats by 2026 and 75,000 seats in the coming 5-year goal. 75,000 seats in medical school. And there are a lot of issues with the abroad medical education. They are unregulated. Okay, their quality we don't know. They are for-profit institutions, so they are very expensive also. Okay, so this you can use as one of the points when the question comes about the issues of health sector in India. Let's move to the next article. So China's dam project opens the floodgates of concern. This comes under GS paper 2, India-China relations, and also India and the neighboring countries. Okay, that is the issue, right? So so China has announced a hydropower project on the lower section of the upper stream of Yarlung-Sangbo river in Tibet. It can have a lot of environmental and spillover issues for India. Yarlung-Sangbo is the name of Brahmaputra in China. It is known as Brahmaputra in Assam, and it is known as Siang in India's Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so China is doing it as per their 14th 5-year plan. China is a communist country working under the 5-year plans, as India used to do till the 12th 5-year plan. Okay, so China is aiming to reduce the reliance on fossil fuels and achieve carbon neutrality. That's why they are eyeing on hydropower, right? But there are a lot of issues here. There is a convention regarding international water law. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Non-Navigational Uses of International Water Courses, which is called UN Water Courses Convention 1997, which emphasizes on the principles of equitable and reasonable utilization of water. But the problem is China and India both are not signatories to it, right? Nor do they adhere to robust framework of domestic laws governing transboundary laws around this water. Okay, so a lot of lower riparian states feel that China uses this, its position with respect to rivers as a a powerful tool. It is called securitization of water and military nationalism that China is doing. Okay, so it is serious water threat to India. But there is an expert level mechanism to deal with water related matters, that means regularly. ELM exists between India and China, and the proposed dam which is being constructed in China will be built in seismically active region, that is earthquake prone regions, highly earthquake prone regions. Catastrophic consequences will be there. It can disrupt river ecosystem, threaten biodiversity, right? And none of the other countries of South Asia have said anything, because there doesn't exist any good organization of South Asia. Like SAARC is not working, Nepal, Bhutan and Pakistan, nobody is talking. So absence of an active regional organization, that was SAARC, halts South Asia from developing a collective strategy to manage transboundary rivers and conduct negotiations with the upper riparian country like China. So this is the issue, the transboundary river issues. Let's move to the next article. Okay, so this what is happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Okay, so it is important from prelims that there is an M23 militia that is working in active in Democratic Republic of Congo and has captured the mineral-rich city of Goma, which lies on the border of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And this is the conflict between two ethnic groups, which is Hutus and Tutsis since colonial times. Okay, so I'll tell you the story in short. This is important from prelims point of view. The names of ethnic groups Hutus and Tutsis, right? The name M23 is important. M23 militia. This is a Tutsi community. Tutsi ethnic community and mineral city of Goma, that you should know. But I also want you to know the story from essay point of view. So why is this conflict coming from? Where is it coming from? So this goes back to the colonization when Rwanda was ruled by Belgium and Germany. Okay, at that time Tutsi rulers were there. Tutsi. So Germany and Belgium were ruling with the help of Tutsi monarchy. Okay, so in general basis, if Tutsi monarchy was there, so members of Tutsis were given good prospects and good position, better prospects for the group in the case of job and economy, right? So Hutus had anger against them, right? So what happened? There was a revolution by Hutus in 1959, and then Hutus regime came to power in Rwanda. So when Hutus regime became victorious in local revolution and came in power, they started systematic repression against Tutsis. They started killing them and they started things against them. So Tutsi rebel group came. Okay, so then there was a civil war in 1990. This Hutus repression of Tutsi led to a war, which is a very sad war of Rwandan genocide of 1994, which reaches an inflection point where 8 lakh Tutsis were gunned down. 8 lakh Tutsis. Okay, so this is a big story that you can use in essay, that such wars and ethnic conflicts and colonization has led to such problems, right? So and that has led to African world wars. Okay, so after the genocide of 1994, which was huge, there was 2 African world wars, and then in 2003 everything came to everything became stable after killing 5 million people from battle, disease and starvation. You can use this as a case study how wars and ethnic fights can create such big issues for human life, right? And the name of M23 militia, that is the Tutsi minority, comes from the agreement that was done on March 23, 2009, which failed, which was an abortive peaceful agreement which failed. Okay, so but one more important fact, prelims fact from this issue of Goma and Democratic Republic of Congo is they are trying to capture Goma because that is famous for an ore called coltan, the ore from which tantalum is produced. Okay, tantalum is blue-gray metal used in smartphones and other electronic devices. So that's why they are eyeing on Goma. Coltan is the ore, tantalum is the mineral, is the metal. Okay, for manufacturing of capacitors that store energy, and 40% of the global supply come from the DRC. This is important from prelims and you can use an essay. Let's move to the next article. We'll directly Yeah, so this article is again important. Karnataka spent 2% of GDP on higher education, which was very poor, according to the Niti Aayog policy report on expanding quality higher education through states and state public universities. Karnataka was third last in terms of spending of higher education, okay? Third last. So who was the last? Delhi and Telangana were even worse, okay? So that is what they are saying. Karnataka spent only 2%, whereas Jammu Kashmir was spent the highest on the higher education, that is 8%. Manipur 7%, Meghalaya 6.64%, and Tripura 6.19%. So the bigger states and developed states like Karnataka, Delhi, and Telangana comes in the lowest 3, which is not very good indicator. Let's move to the next article. And we'll directly go to the science page. Yeah. So challenges of malaria vaccination as elimination becomes achievable. So this comes under GS paper 3, science and technology, development and applications, and its effect on everyday lives. Okay. So WHO recent declaration of Georgia as the 45th country to eliminate malaria is a great milestone. Okay. So we should know about malaria. So only female Anopheles mosquito, the above statement, and only female Anopheles mosquitoes carried the parasite. So not all the mosquitoes, but female Anopheles. But the full cycle, they do not know how it works. So in 1897, Ronald Rose in India demonstrated that Plasmodium completed its life cycle in mosquitoes. So Plasmodium, okay, so Plasmodium is a parasite which causes malaria and which is caused by living organisms. Okay, so Plasmodium completed its life cycle in mosquitoes, proving they were malaria's vectors. Plasmodium is the malaria's vector, right? So, but the issue is, instead of liberating the populations most affected by malaria, the discovery of a disease paved the way for the subjugation and reinforcing colonial rule. Okay, so progress in science does not always translate to moral or equitable outcomes. So science is also a friend of capitalism. So it will not always go for the welfare of people. It can, it may not. So there has to be right intention. It has talked about the difference between virus and Plasmodium. Viruses are simpler in comparison, consisting of only genetic material encased in protein shell, and are relatively straightforward compared to parasites. So that's why the vaccines are easily made for virus like COVID and hepatitis, right? But Plasmodium is a protozoan, parasite, and eukaryotic organism. It's a protozoan, parasite, and eukaryotic organism with multiple stages of development. Okay, it has a life cycle, each featuring different surface antigens. But it's difficult to make vaccines for such things because they keep changing their stages. Fighting malaria is like trying to corner a cunning politician who changes allegiance and ideology, senses the public statement. Okay, so Plasmodium has been perfecting this trick for 30 million years, and it adapts to different, surrounding, and that's why vaccine is difficult for such disease. Okay, now this is last article of the day. Fetus and fetu, a twin mystery. So this is an issue where a fetus was found within a fetus. Okay, fetu was found in fetus. So that is called, that's a disease. That's a problem. It's a congenital disorder called cryptodidymus. This is a rare congenital disorder that affects about 1 in 5 lakh births. 5 lakh में एक बच्चे को होता है. Less than 200 cases have been reported worldwide. It's an anomaly during the development of monozytic or identical twins. There are several anomalies happening. One of them is this. Okay, so that's it for 14th Feb.